All right, hey everyone, December 14th, the year 2016. A friend of mine sent me this article. I wanted to read it into YouTube. I have been accused of painting a narrative with Pastor Wally Drake that people don't agree with. I say that Pastor Wally Drake is being targeted, because of his political speech, and others have said that's not true, but I believe that it absolutely is true. Pastor Wally Drake has been very open and transparent with everyone and anyone who has asked him any questions regarding the history with the IRS and what has led up to this recent letter, where they are threatening to seize his church property one day after he goes to court for yet an unrelated legal charge of putting a 99-cent flag on a veterans memorial fence. So in any event, let's read this. I did read this before. I had technical difficulties and there was a large hissing sound that made it just unbearable. So hopefully this technical difficulty has been taken care of. I've changed my microphone, and let's get to work. And I'll put the link in the description bar in the comment section. Federal judge, lawsuit against IRS for targeting conservative groups will likely succeed, by Barbara Hollingsworth, November the 7th, the year 2016. CNSnews.com, and I'm assuming this is an official news site. I hope this isn't fake news. I've never been to CNS News before. If it's fake news, I do apologize, but it does appear to be a real article with a real news site. And so anyway, CNSnews.com, a federal judge in Ohio ruled Friday that a lawsuit filed against the Internal Revenue Service, otherwise known as the mafia arm of the illegal foreign coup that's taken over the United States government, the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, for allegedly engaging in viewpoint discrimination while processing applications for tax-exempt status by 10 conservative groups, has a likelihood of success on the merits. U.S. District Judge Michael Barrett also ordered the IRS to stop stalling and start processing the application submitted by the Fort Worth-based Tea Party, Texas Patriots Tea Party, TPTP, back in 2012 in the ordinary course of business. The evidence strongly suggests that the IRS initiated the delay because TPTP's application was perceived at the screening state to be a Tea Party case. The judge wrote in his 29-page ruling, which was publicly released last week. On May the 10th, 2013, Lois Lerner, the former director of IRS exempt organizations, publicly acknowledged that the IRS had been what? What did she publicly acknowledge? Let me read that sentence again, because I really want you guys to sink this sentence in and understand what it says. On May the 10th, 2013, Lois Lerner, the former director of the IRS exempt organizations, publicly acknowledged that the IRS had been targeting conservative groups. On May the 14th, 2013, the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, TIGTA, concluded in a report that the IRS used inappropriate criteria to identify and slow down the tax-exempt applications of certain organizations for further review, including those having Tea Party, Patriots, or 912 in their titles, or groups that wanted to limit government spending and were opposed to higher taxes. An analysis by the Washington Post found the groups with the word progressive in their names suffered no similar slowdown pattern. Barrett quoted a 2015 court ruling stating that processing applications pursuant to different standards and at different rates depending on the viewpoint of the applicants is a blatant violation of the First Amendment, and adding that the loss of First Amendment freedoms causes irreparable injury. The class action lawsuit was filed on August 5th, 2013 against the IRS and the Treasury Department on behalf of 10 conservative groups, including TPTP, that had applied for tax-exempt status. TPTP is the last member of the class whose tax exemption is still pending. It's one of 3 outstanding lawsuits accusing the IRS of illegally targeting conservative groups. 2 other cases were dismissed but later reinstated on appeal. The IRS claimed that it could not consider TPTP's application because of the litigation, but Barrett said the government could not see the forest through the trees when it uses the existence of this lawsuit as grounds to continue the delay that it is the subject of this lawsuit. The IRS and its agents targeted the dissenting groups for an intensive and intrusive scrutiny, probing pervasively into the members' associations, speech, activities, and beliefs, the lawsuit charged. Elements within the executive branch of the federal government brought the vast powers, incomprehensible complexity, and crushing bureaucracy of the IRS to bear on groups of citizens whose wrongdoing was their presumed dissent from the policies or ideology of the administration. In other words, these citizens were targeted based upon their political viewpoints. The result was a chilling and muzzling of free speech and association, the lawsuit continued. Citizens for Self-Governance President Mark Meckler told CNSNews.com that his group funded the litigation because I saw all these organizations making money from the Tea Party targeting, but nobody was doing anything about it. Meckler said that besides holding up their applications for tax-exempt status, sometimes for years, the IRS also harassed the conservative groups with a huge list of outrageous demands, including demands for their donor list, reading list, and even what prayers they said at their meetings. Small Tea Party organizations with limited staff and funds found it very difficult to comply with the tax agency's demands, Meckler pointed out. A lot of groups just shut down. Their intention was clear. The IRS intended to do everything it could to shut down the Tea Party movement before the 2012 election, and they were very successful, he told CNS News. Meckler said that he is very optimistic that the conservative groups will win in court, but added that I'm less optimistic that justice will be done if nobody pays the price. Even if the conservative groups are vindicated and hopefully compensated for the IRS's actions, there's not much to prevent the agency from targeting conservative groups in the future, he pointed out. I worry about that, he told CNS News. This is a symptom of a broken government, a symptom of tyranny, and it doesn't stand alone. It goes along with other government abuses, written by Barbara Hollingsworth. Okay, that's the problem. What did they say at the bottom of that article? That nobody's held accountable. Here, I'm less optimistic that justice will be done if nobody pays the price. We've got a out-of-control Lois Lerner. We've got an out-of-control IRS. Nobody's gone to jail. Nobody's been penalized. Nobody's been held responsible. The same thing with the Department of Justice and Loretta Lynch and Eric Holder and Michael Mukasey. Nobody's ever held accountable. Nobody loses their job. Nobody goes to jail. Barack Obama can put out faulty birth certificates. Barack Obama can do scandal after scandal. Nobody's ever held accountable, and that's the problem. These evil bastards need to be held accountable. Justice needs to come to these traitors who are participating in an illegal foreign coup of the American people. And once we start to get justice, and once these evil reprobates start to feel the proper punishment for the crimes they've committed, then we can start to get back to restoring this country and take it back from the traitors to the people of the United States of America. Thank you.